Hey all, welcome to We Watch TV, the podcast about TV we watch. And here we've got another supercut for you. If this is your first time with a supercut, what this is a combination of all the conversations we've had over various podcast episodes about a particular show, combined into one spot so you don't have to go pick through the episodes if you want to know about this specific show. Today's episode is all about Marvel's Secret Invasion. We talked a lot about how much we enjoyed this show in the first few episodes, only to have the rug pulled out from under us by the end. So hopefully you enjoy our conversation. First up, we spoke about Marvel's Secret Invasion in episode 23. Yes, Chef.
We also watched Elizabeth Coleman in Secret Invasion. We did not realize she was going to be in that.
Olivia Colman.
Olivia Coleman. I'm sorry.
You were thinking of Queen Elizabeth.
Yep, I mashed
Because
them up.
she played
I mashed them up.
Queen Elizabeth on The Crown.
Samuel L. Jackson is back as Nick Fury.
And we apologize for, once again, forgetting about Secret Invasion. We were talking about all the shows coming back and like our previous episodes, and just,
It's
again,
a secret.
we forgot about this
It's
one.
a secret
Secret
invasion.
Invasion. What did I call it?
Nothing. I was saying it's a secret. That's why we keep forgetting about
Oh, okay. Yes, Chef. I did not get that. Yes, Chef. Thank you, Chef. It was good. I feel like you said you saw a lot of people complaining about it on
it.
Reddit.
A lot of people complaining about
I think what Marvel fans are starting to remind me of Star Wars fans that
Ouch.
are
That's a
unhappy
low
all
blow.
the time. And it's just, what happened to when we all just liked our Marvel content, guys? Can we get back to that place?
it. No, absolutely
I mean,
not.
am I going to say that it's the best of the Marvel shows? No, but we're only one episode in.
Yeah.
You said we're only getting 6 episodes. I think it would have been nice if they had given us the first 2. I'll definitely tell you, again, spoiler alert. I saw that, Maria Hill was going to be in this Colby Smulders character from that How I Met Your Mother worst finale ever. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring that up. But I was like, oh, fun. I had always wanted to get more of her character from the movies. And I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, this is nice. I was like, maybe I'm going to get to see some more of Maria Hill and why she's so beloved. I want to see more of her character. And what happened to her in the first episode?
We got 60 minutes of her,
Got a good 60 minutes of her.
and then they
More
shot
than
her.
what I've seen of her in the movies. And then what happened?
And they shot her, and we're
And-
presuming she died.
Then she is now presumed dead. And I was like, oh. And then she was credited as a guest star.
Yeah.
In the credits. So, so that went out the window. But Nick Fury's clearly has PTSD. Did they
I
say
do have.
how he got his eye back?
No, they haven't said that yet.
Okay.
Plus, all the promos have him with his eye patch, so
Yeah,
I don't
I'm a
know
little-
what that's
I'm a little
about.
fuzzy on that.
I do have a couple notes from the episode. The first one is
Oh no! Oh no! Now I remember.
Hope will not stop asking me
Okay.
questions about this show
Guys,
that I have never seen before.
I taught a camp class for the past 2 weeks in a row and was working with young children all last week, so my brain was fried. Please forgive me. And I was asking you questions because normally, okay, so Daniel's the person. We see the first Captain America movie. I'm in tears about Bucky Barnes, and he leans in and goes, "Don't worry, he's going to come back as the Winter Soldier," which apparently not a lot of people knew, and was like a huge reveal when that movie came out. And you like leaned in and told me. So I was asking you for your comic book knowledge because you do this to me.
It's not comic book knowledge. I don't read comic books.
Well, then you just know.
I read Wikipedia and watch YouTube.
You drink and know. What does he
I
say?
drink and I know
drink
things. You were like your dad watching that movie with
I
us
was.
a couple
I
months
was like,
ago.
"Dear God,
Who's
it's
that?
genetic."
What are they doing? Who's that?
My
What
dad
are they
does
who
that.
is Why are they doing that? Where's
So, like,
his eye
any
patch?
show, any movie we watch, I could see seeing a movie for the first time. I've never seen it either. And Dad's like, "What's this going on? Who's he?" And I'm like, and then to realize that I do that too. It's real fun when you realize you're turning into your parents.
Also, just as for some podcast lore, my second note: Hope finally knows who Ben Mendelsohn is.
Yes. Yes.
It's the
Did
guy
we get
from
to see Don Cheadle? Did he show up?
yeah,
in
he was in there as
season two?
well.
Don
Cheadle was also
who's
in
not in Mean Girls.
it.
More
Not
podcast
in Mean Girls
lore.
was also in Secret Invasion.
But I liked it. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to have a Tuesday show.
Yeah, I love a Tuesday show. I like
feel like-
if I'm gonna have to suffer through
Yeah.
the turmoil, the slings and arrows of weekly releases, at least space them out.
To me on different
Give me
what
one
is
on
up
a
with
Tuesday.
Thursday?
Give me one on a Wednesday.
Why
Give me
are-
one on
why
a
are they giving
Hey,
us-
you know what? I'd take a Monday.
And lucky for you, we're not watching it tonight because we'll
No.
watch it on Hulu tomorrow. The Bachelorette
No.
premieres on Monday.
I
at
take
the
it back.
time of
I
this
take it back.
recording.
No shows on Monday.
But yeah, what's up with Thursday? They all want
It's
to do
the
Thursday.
third day.
I get why they don't do Friday. I know Disney Plus originally did Friday, and then realized, like, as the pandemic kind of restrictions started to lift, they
People do
realized
stuff on Fridays.
yeah, people were back to like doing things on Fridays. Not everyone's hermits like we are. And they're like, and I see my and I remember growing up, Thursday night TV was always big. That's when like Seinfeld was on,
Mm-hmm.
Friends was on. I think Frasier was on Thursday. So I guess the streaming services are like, you know what, we're gonna do Thursday, the third day.
I don't know.
Monday,
Yeah, I don't have much
Tuesday.
else to say about.
You don't want to config the third day thing?
I already did it. You just didn't hear me.
Oh, I just didn't hear you because I
No.
don't have headphones.
No, you
I
need
need to
headphones.
get headphones.
Tell everybody, tell Hope to get
Should I
headphones.
get pink headphones, guys? The Beats by Dre, the pink ones.
Yeah, sure. So I don't have much else to say. I'm looking forward to it. Like,
Yeah.
I thought it was a
I
perfectly
know nothing
fine
about it. Apparently,
start.
you don't either.
It provided intrigue.
Amelia Clark's
Clark's in it. She is Ben Mendelsohn's daughter. We want to see how that works out because right now it's not clear, like what we thought for a second she was going to be like
Like the
maybe
big bad.
playing double on both sides.
Yeah.
And now after
I'm
the
not
end of that
entirely sure.
episode, I'm not sure
After
what
they
side
shot
she's
Maria
on.
Hill, I was like, oh.
Yeah, and I think it's it's supposed to be a spy show, so there's probably going to be a lot of twists.
Do you think
and
we'll
turns
see
along the
anybody
way.
else from like the Avengers area? I do
I
like
don't know.
how his character is like, "What'd you do in your midlife crisis or something?" He's like, and Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury goes, "I made the Avengers."
Yeah, yeah, that was good.
Enjoyed
So
that.
no, I'm looking forward to seeing more of it.
Me too.
I'm excited about it. I like the
I think-
to be honest with you, I've always liked most of the Marvel shows.
I have liked every
People
single Marvel
complain
show.
endlessly about them. I have liked every Marvel
And
show.
every Marvel show that we have watched has been, and this is one of the things I like, it's so different.
Mhm.
They've all been different
Yes,
and
Chef.
great in their own ways. Yes, Chef. I think personally, if I were to go back and pick, Loki is absolutely my favorite one.
For sure. Yes, for sure.
And you're looking forward to Loki season 2. And
Season
then
2,
I think we would disagree on our second ones. I think WandaVision would get my second place spot. I don't even know. You can't pick, can you? There's so many good ones. Ooh, I really like Moon Knight too, though.
I
It's
really
hard.
liked Moon Knight.
It's
Moon
tough.
Knight was really good.
The Hulk would be my least favorite one. Not the She-Hulk. I liked She-Hulk. I did like the Hulk, but I would probably put that one as my last one. But it came at a good time because it was like Christmas themed.
Yeah. I'd also like to see what they're going to do with the ending of She-Hulk. Do you remember that last
Yes.
episode?
Yes.
And I would like to see if they're going to play with that.
That's one that a
anywhere
lot of people
else.
didn't like, but I enjoyed that they
That
made
was
it like
wild.
I like that they made it like a sitcom.
Yeah, it was funny and it was good. And I don't know what people just need to learn to like
Yeah.
things and not be
People
so
need
serious.
to not that was the
Why
whole thing
so
that happened
serious?
when Marvel movies first came out is we had like the serious Batman movies, which I like the Christopher Nolan Batman. I like Batman Begins.
Sure.
Um,
The Dark Knight's one of the
Dark
greatest movies ever
Knights.
made.
one of the best movies ever made. But I remember when I saw, now I didn't watch the Hulk, I don't think. I think I went back and watched that later. But the first Iron Man was a great popcorn. When I say that's not an insult.
That's not an insult.
When I think Top Gun, which is one of my favorite movies ever. I became a huge Top Gun stan last year. When I say it's something that's a great popcorn movie, that is a compliment for me. Not everything has to be just incredible. And I think what happened was we built up the story, and Infinity Wars and Endgame just snatched all our collective wigs. And everybody has been waiting for the Marvel movies to reach that. And I would say the recent Guardians one did.
Yeah.
And it's
well,
probably, I'd put it in my top 5. But we're getting back to kind of telling the stories again.
Well, they're forgetting that it took them 10 years to
Yeah.
get there. Like, if they had
And I
just
just think-
released those movies, it wouldn't
Yeah.
have meant nearly as much as you have to
And I
have
think
the
like
build
the
up.
bar's been set so high, so that's what I think Marvel fans are just spoiled.
Yeah.
So-
They are spoiled because they've been getting
Yeah.
great content for a long time.
Anyway.
They're not like us starving Star Trek fans who are just now starting to get to eat again.
We continued our conversation in episode 24, Considerable Pickle.
We watched Secret Invasion, second episode of Secret Invasion.
Which apparently I feel like we've said it came out
yes.
on Tuesday.
I-
and it was
I made an
because
error.
You had
I
off.
had
on
Monday off.
I was just tired. So it does come out on Wednesday. We still don't have the Tuesday show yet. Episode 2. I thought episode 2 was better than episode 1
I agree.
of Secret Invasion.
I mean, episode 1 was set up.
You got more into. Are they called scrolls?
Scrolls.
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 Roll the R if you can. I can't.
Scrolls.
I don't think they roll the R.
No, misburped.
I have a couple notes.
Okay.
Sure. So first, and this was an observation I made because this episode kind of gave us a flashback to the events kind of right after the Captain Marvel movie, where we meet the child version of who is now, like, we are assuming the big bad.
Gaia.
No,
Oh, God, the other
the big
boy.
bad
The boy,
of
yes.
the show. And,
I forget his name, but
I made the comment that we really need to keep Samuel Jackson away from adolescent, impressionable males. He should not be their mentor at all, because it just seems to be going bad for him.
If he had been a little nicer to Anakin, that Anakin would have. Yeah, I always think that if they had granted Anakin the rank of master, he would have felt the trust that the council had in him and not cling so much to the manipulative Palpatine, and we could have had ourselves a whole different story.
I'm going to be honest with you. I have a headcanon here that makes it even worse. See, I think that when Anakin first got to the Jedi Temple after the events of Episode 1, he's getting settled in. He meets people for the first time. He's met Mace Windu, but now he sees Mace Windu, and I believe there's a period of time where Anakin thinks Mace Windu is like the coolest dude around.
Who wouldn't?
And it makes it even worse when it turns out that Mace Windu does not like him.
Who wouldn't? Poor Anakin.
So, anyways, let's maybe not let Samuel L. Jackson mentor these kids, because it is not turning out well.
Fair point.
Clearly, from this episode, not turning out well.
Yeah, fair point.
He shows up. He shoots Maria Hill. She seems to be dead. Like the first episode, we saw that, but in the second episode,
they go see her mom.
Yeah, like.
So her mom's presuming that Maria Hill's the big dead, but you said that the actress is credited to be in another show coming out?
She's credited to be in the Marvels, the movie.
I think it would be, maybe they can pull like a Coulson on us, and
it could be a flashback. Yes, it's very possible.
Well, I mean, a flashback.
Oh, like
Coulson,
take him to Tahiti, the wonderful place,
something like that.
Maybe.
Did anybody ever? I almost. By the way, that reminds me. You don't know this. I almost started to finish. I have like 4 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. left in the last season. You quit before the last season. I almost started watching that again, and then I was reminded why I had quit. Because, they go back into, like, the 20s, right? They have to save Hydra to save S.H.I.E.L.D. And I was like, oh, it's all coming screaming back to me why I didn't want to finish this.
I did not know that, and I really wish I didn't.
S.H.I.E.L.D. was so good at first.
At
Speaking
first.
of Coulson, it was, like,
Then
really
it
good.
Wasn't.
And then it just kind of fell off. But...
my second note is just Shooter McGavin.
Oh, yeah. Shooter McGavin. Also, he's in the better... Grease 2 is better than the first Grease. He's the where does the pollen go? Goose, I think. No, is Goose his name in it, or is he something else? Is Goose the other guy?
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
You know their names. Anyway, Shooter McGavin is in Grease 2.
Okay.
Does he play like a bad guy in everything?
So yeah, because he's so they're like the council of world leaders who are actually Skrulls.
Yes.
And this guy, the leader of the Skrulls, is now taken over, and he's gonna do bad things to them.
Yes.
To the people, to the humans of the earth, and Samuel Jackson
got a bone to pick
is going to attempt to save us all.
So at the end scene, Nick Fury goes home. I didn't know Nick Fury was married. Did you?
Nobody did, no.
And so he's walking in, and his wife is a Skrull, but then she changes back to her human form. I read an interview with the actors, and they said that in the original script, Fury knows she was a Skrull, but the way this episode was, they made it like that, there's a potential chance that he might not know. What do you think? Do you think he knows? Do you think he doesn't know? Because wasn't she the woman that showed up at the beginning that was introducing?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where fans aren't paying attention enough.
I think if they try to play it off as he did not know that, all they are doing is further diminishing his character.
But she showed up in the beginning scene, right?
I thought so, yeah. But supposedly the greatest spy ever, and he doesn't know his wife is a Skrull.
The only thing he didn't know was it was revealed that there's a lot of Skrulls walking around, and they could be.
He did not know that. Yes,
and he did not know that. I think I really like getting to see more of Nick Fury. He's always just been kind of like the guy, like the enigma, like we didn't know much about him. I'm liking that they're kind of pulling that curtain on. Off of him, and we're getting to know more about him. Clearly, he's not going to get much help from the U.S. government at this point, because Rhodey, who's not Don Cheadle, that is Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle is not in Mean Girls, more podcast lore. He showed up in this episode,
yes, and
was basically like, "Yeah, you got one of our agents killed. You did this.
Do you think it's actually him?
Do that it's? I don't know. That's a good point.
Do you think it's actually him?
Points. At this point, who can you trust?
I saw somebody. I don't know that they'll go this far, but I saw somebody, and if this is a huge spoiler for the show, I apologize, everyone. Somebody was postulating that Rhodey died in Civil War. And the entire time since he's been a Skrull.
Shut your mouth. I will.
Because remember, he like got really hurt.
Shut your mouth. I can't. Isn't there a way, because Olivia Colman's character shows up again, that you can tell if they're Skrull or not? You just have to cut their fingers off. So we just start cutting fingers off of everybody.
It doesn't seem like a sustainable solution.
Again,
but,
Olivia Colman comes in and just steals the show.
Yeah.
And her briefs in like a little interrogation scene.
Yeah, she's great.
I think it's good though. Like again, like our little Marvel soapbox last week, I can see why people complain. They're marketing this as more a mini series, right? We know we're not going to get a season 2.
Yeah,
Only
I
6
mean, I don't know.
episodes.
Who knows
So-
with these guys these days?
I'm looking for. I think it would have been smarter for them to give the first 2 episodes at once. I would like to know why they have, because we keep joking that we forget about Secret Invasion all the time. I
Yeah.
almost forgot to put it in my show notes, even though I enjoyed it. What's up with the marketing that they did? They barely
don't know.
marketed this show.
Yeah. Well, it's weird too because I'm pretty sure, and this could be old information. I'm pretty sure in one of their presentations he was talking about future movies. That an eventual Avengers movie is going to be called Secret War. So this is Secret Invasion, and it's kind of like a prelude
Yeah.
to that. And it's like, okay,
Anyway,
yeah,
go watch
it's
Secret
good.
Invasion.
If you like Marvel shows, I think it's good. I think if you're a person that takes Marvel really seriously, go outside, man.
Who takes Marvel? I guess some people do.
Hey, listen. I mean,
They're turning in. You know what? I'm going to say it right now. I think The Dark Knight's a great movie. What's that movie that we like also that Christopher Nolan did with Leonardo DiCaprio's in it? What is that movie
Inception.
called? Inception. I think it's a good movie, not the greatest movie of all time, but like the Christopher Nolan specific fanboys are like can be just absolutely psychotic. Come for me, I don't care. Marvel, there's some Marvel fans that are turning into that. I know we talked about this last week, but I'm like, can we just let it be what it is? Marvel movies, I like them for my popcorn. I've explained this before, my fun movies. And yes, there's some serious stuff. Yes, things are connected, but people just need to just relax. Chill out. Have a moon pie.
We stupidly continued to defend this show and Marvel in general in episode 25, Old Man Syndrome.
We've also been watching this week, keeping up with Secret Invasion. I think Secret Invasion's getting better and better.
I really think it's great. I don't know what.
I-
I'm not going to go after the
We're not
Marvel
gonna go on our
folks 3
Marvel
weeks in a row
soapbox
now,
again.
but I think it's really good.
Yeah, I like getting to know a little bit more about Nick Fury. I think is intriguing. So obviously, this past episode it confirmed that his wife Priscilla, he knew she was a Skrull. I think they put that little bit like, oh, does he not know at the end, just to kind of sizzle fans, even though we were
Yeah,
like,
that
isn't
was-
that the same lady?
I'm sorry. It would have been weird if he didn't. If Nick Fury, the greatest
Yeah.
spy ever, did not know that, it would have
Yeah.
been weird.
I think it's interesting he's married. It just never occurred to me that he'd be married. Obviously, he's been gone for a while, and even after the snap, it seemed to me like he hadn't really returned home and that they'd been kind of
Yeah.
living apart. She referenced that. They're giving me, if you guys have ever seen the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, it's giving me Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibes with the two of them because something's going on with her.
I think they're going
She's
to be at
keeping
odds.
some
Yeah.
secrets, and he knows it. And she's the one that introduced him to Gravik. Is that
Mm-hmm.
his name? When Gravik was just a kid, we confirmed all that, and then he was gone for years. And it seems to me she might have fallen in a different path. I don't know. I hope she's not the one giving.
Well, so here's the
misinformation.
interesting thing. So when
She seems pretty annoyed with him.
when she's on the phone at the very end, and she's on a phone with a mystery person,
Yeah.
and I swear that is Rhodey's voice on the other side of the phone.
So do we think that Rhodey all this time has been a Skrull, and we're going to
Well,
find
that's the
out that the
question.
real Rhodey died?
Is it that Rhodey is a Skrull, or is it that she's just working for Rhodey
Yeah.
instead, and it's a third?
Or is she working for Gravik too, and maybe
I don't
gone
know.
bad?
So I don't know.
I would like to think not, but there's definitely like that we don't trust each other thing. We got to see how they met. I thought that the CGI. Speaking of CGI, it looks so good because it just
Yeah,
looks,
the de-aging.
and like they made her look younger.
They're really
he looked
getting good at
younger.
it. It's amazing when you think Rogue One, when they did that with kind
Yeah.
of bringing Peter Cushing back as Grand Moff Tarkin, and we all were like really impressed by that. And if you go back and watch that now, it does not look great. But this
But this looks
de-aging stuff they're
good.
doing looks fantastic.
Like I thought it looked. I don't remember which Iron Man it was where they made Robert Downey Jr. look younger, and I thought that one looked good too.
that was Civil War.
That was
It
Civil War.
wasn't even an Iron Man movie.
Great movie. Felt like an Iron Man movie.
So the big sizzler at the end of this episode
Yes.
that I cannot believe I had to. I saw so many conversations with people like, why would they kill Emilia Clarke's character
Amelia
in the
Clark
third
plays
episode?
Gaia. That's the Mendelssohn.
That seems like such a waste
What's
of
his
an
name?
actress.
Talos. Talos. That's
Yeah.
his daughter.
And I'm like, she's not dead, you idiot.
Yeah, I don't think she's dead either.
I didn't see the body.
Obviously, yeah, that's rule number one for movies, TV. Unless you see the body and you see that body like going to the ground or like being burned or something, always assume that somebody's still alive. If watching TV and movies over the years has taught me anything, it's that you need to see the body.
It's honestly like,
but her cover's been blown.
Yeah,
Though,
her
that's
cover's
for
been
sure.
blown for sure. And
Gravik knows that she's. I think he kind of suspected already that she's like the double agent helping her dad out with stuff.
Well, for me though, it's one of those things where at this point where we are in 2023, like they're trying to build tension,
Yeah.
and have shocking moments, but like nobody with a brain thinks that character's dead.
I mean, maybe you never know. Maybe they did kill her off, but I'm still sus on Maria Hill. Even though we saw her mom and we know everything, just the way spies and stuff work, I wouldn't be surprised if she's still alive somewhere. They're doing something with her and keeping it from Nick Fury because he's been X'd out of things. Like, that's why I'm always like, sus. 'Cause we didn't really see her body either. I guess I saw her laying there, and we did see a casket, but they could still cover that up. I mean, like, what do you think about her? Maybe if you hadn't told me that she was going to be in another movie,
yeah,
I don't know.
I was surprised they went that way. I thought it was a good choice for her, but it kind of does dull it a little bit knowing
It was just
she's
funny
in the credit.
'cause-
Now, again, in the Marvels movie, it could be a
Yeah.
flashback. There could be a bunch of things
It
going
was
on
just
there.
funny because I was like, "Oh, yay, we're gonna finally get to know about more of Maria." And then, like, as soon as I said that, I was like, "Oh, I ruined it."
So, no, Secret Invasion's great.
It's good. I'm looking forward to
it.
this week's episode.
Um,
And this week will be episode 4.
This will be the
so
fourth
we
of
only,
6. Yeah,
you know,
we're halfway through.
We're halfway through since
Yeah.
it's only 6 episodes into a miniseries.
I don't know. Is it a mini series? Like the way they do these things now.
The way
everything's a
they've been
miniseries.
describing it as a miniseries. That's why I said that. Yeah, I like it. I think it's good. I think it's one of those shows that's getting better and better. Anything else you want to say about Secret Invasion?
No.
Other than we're enjoying it.
People
Excited
who
for the
think
next episode.
Gaia is dead, just stop it. Come on.
And if she is dead, then I guess we're wrong.
There's just no way. There's no way they bring in that caliber of actress
Yeah.
for 3 episodes of a
Do you
show.
think there's any chance Brie Larson's going to show up in this series at the
No.
end? Not even as like a sizzle?
No.
I feel like we would have heard about it
No.
if she did.
No.
What about anybody else from like the Avengers era? Like anybody else? I think anyone else is
If
going to show up.
Rhodey is a Skrull, I can see the real Rhodey showing up at some point.
Yeah, unless you said he was killed off or something.
I don't. That was
That's
some
a fan
person.
theory.
I don't think.
Do you think
that's true.
anybody else though is going to show up?
Um,
Like I'm not obviously. I don't know.
I don't think so. No, I really
Okay.
don't. I don't think. And some of this is just because I pay attention to.
Not even Elaine. What's her name? The actress's name? She's been
Oh
showing up.
gosh, I don't know.
Why are we blanking on her name?
Because she's
like
been
a great actress.
into
I'm just calling her Seinfeld
Julia
name.
Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, because she's been showing up at some of the end of them, like rounding up teams.
I don't remember.
of
I thought you were
people.
asking me what her character's name was.
Oh, no.
I don't know. No, I mean maybe. Who knows? I haven't heard any like scuttlebutt.
One thing
around
that
this
you'll
show.
learn about me when I watch TV shows, and Daniel does the same thing, is I will constantly call you by a character that I knew you from previously, and she's just so iconic as Elaine from Seinfeld. Like, I'll give you an example. Supernatural came out, and when we first started watching that, like, I'm a Gilmore Girls person, and Sam Winchester, his character on Gilmore Girls was Dean. Ugh. What do you think about Dean? Ugh.
I'm taking a drink break while you
Ick.
go through this.
What do you think about Dean, though?
Yeah, he's gross.
Yeah,
I don't like him.
not a fan. But anyway,
I'm a Jess guy myself.
same. That's who Rory should have ended up with, the superior couple. Anyway, anyhow, the other character, Jensen Ackles' character on Supernatural, is named Dean. So for like the first, I'd say, you know, because we started binging that. We didn't start like when it first premiered. But I'd say for a solid 8 to 10 episodes, we were calling both of them Dean.
Well, you had me really confused.
I did.
because I didn't have that attachment to that
because you
character.
hadn't watched Gilmore Girls yet with me.
And so I was like, wait, there's
who
two
is
Who are
Dean?
you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
And now I see him, and I see him as Sam. Like I see him more as Sam now than I do as Dean from Gilmore Girls. But Gilmore Girls,
He's
good
still
show.
the more annoying of the brothers.
He is. We like Dean's better.
The love train for Secret Invasion continued in episode 26, Vulcan Festivus.
All right, well, let's move on and go back to the order that my list should have been in and talk about Secret Invasion. If you are not watching Marvel's Secret Invasion, what are you waiting for?
Yeah,
What are
it's
you
good.
waiting for? I have a lot of questions, though. A lot of questions. So
Ask
remember,
away.
This is a spoiler podcast, but Nick Fury and his wife, I think we've established he knew she was a Skrull the whole time, right?
I believe so, yes.
But they kind of been intentionally like leaving it up in the air. Now, I don't think so. He's like, how did you get the face? Because they take a human face, and she talks about this woman that was sick in a hospital bed named Priscilla, because that's the name she takes on. Who apparently she still maintained a relationship with Priscilla's parents, and she made a promise that she's like, what do you want to experience? What it's like to fall in love? That she would never hurt Nick, which comes into play. So, and my assessment of that scene, and there's been a lot of debate, was that he never knew the actual Priscilla, and that he did know. Yeah, like, because some people, I think, could infer that as he thought she was Priscilla, then he learned she was a Skrull, and I'm like, I think he knew that. I think he just wanted to know.
Him asking her there, hey, how did you ultimately choose that face? I think is pretty well confirmation.
I made the assessment in last week's podcast that they were giving me Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibes, the Brad Pitt Angelina Jolie movie, and they really gave me Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibes this time. They were like pulling guns on each other, but then ultimately not hurting each other, but knowing that, they're on opposite sides because she's working for the bad guys.
Yes.
And Rhodey, you want to talk about that?
Rhodey is Scrody.
Rhodey is Scrody, a Skrull.
He's a Skrull.
So how long has he been one?
We don't know because we haven't seen real Rhodey yet.
We have seen what happens when the Skrulls get hurt. Mm-hmm. So that means that if you go back into the movies, because we saw Rhodey get hurt.
It was unlikely that Rhodey was a Skrull
the entire time
in Civil War because he was badly injured in that.
Yeah. Where is the real Rhodey?
We don't know.
I hope he's not dead.
I mean, we've seen multiple times that place where the other Skrulls hang out in Russia.
Yeah.
Where they've got the people hooked up to those machines so they can read their minds.
Yeah.
And so I guess you have to assume he must be there, right? I'm assuming they're going to resolve that. They've only got 2 episodes to do it.
We only have 2 episodes left. Yeah.
And when we left Rhodey in this episode, he was sitting in the car, really not participating in that battle, but he was alive and fine. So he's still going to play a part in the next 2 episodes.
So
I'm
Ben
assuming.
Mendelsohn's character.
I think he's dead.
I think he's dead too. That was traumatic.
Like that wasn't a fake out like they did with Gaia in the episode previous.
No.
He was shot. He continued to work and do his thing. You started to see him shifting.
Gaia took the drug.
Yeah. You started to see him shifting back and forth from Skrull to him.
Yeah.
And then he fell over and died.
And Gaia took the drug that.
Yes.
What's his name? Gravik. And all of them are taken to be like super Skrulls or whatever.
Yeah.
She took that, so that was how they explained how she was able to get shot and survive. We know he didn't. So now the question is, what's this going to do for Gaia? Gaia can go either way. She can be like, you killed my dad, or I feel like she could just lean totally into her anger and be like, you were supposed to protect him, Nick Fury.
I think she's going to, I know for sure she's going to want revenge on Gravik because
maybe she might be
Gravik specifically and intentionally snuck behind lines to take out Talos. So
we've got Nick Fury's driving off with
the President of the United States of America. Yeah, I don't know where they're going to go. I don't know what. I guess the cat's out of the bag on the Skrulls at this point, right? Like the president's been attacked,
and I guess they did mention we found this out when I was reading an article. They mentioned Fury's wife in Winter Soldier. I'm gonna have to go. That's like I always claim that that's my favorite Marvel movie, and I'm like, was that a throwaway line? Because I don't remember that. But in my defense, it's been several years since
been a
I've
long time.
sat down and watched that. So I need to go back and watch the Winter Soldier. But yeah, I don't know. That was a really like I visibly like gasped and like audibly like screamed when Ben Mendelsohn's character, what's his name again? His character's name? Talos, when they shot him, because I think you're right, with only 2 episodes left.
I think they like, I didn't see the body. We definitely saw the body.
Yeah.
In fact, we got multiple minutes of him like struggling, and like I think
that was really sad.
Yeah. I think that's gonna. The way I think it's gonna go is that's gonna be the point for Gaia, because right now she seems kind of like unsure what she wants to do. She's out of Gravik's
But I can see her being
orbit.
mad at Nick too.
Sure, I could see that, but
yeah,
that
she's definitely.
I don't think
she could hang out with Gravik because
I don't think that is going to drive her back to Gravik.
Yeah.
No. Unless she tries to go back in secret agent style.
Now, at the beginning of this season, we saw the guy from The Hobbit and Sherlock Holmes, who was in Marvel movies, but that was a Skrull.
Yes. So we don't know what happened to, like, where his real body is either. No.
Because I feel like you don't bring that actor on just for like 2 seconds, that maybe that'll come back. Where's Olivia Colman's character? What's she up to right now? Because they're trying to pin this all on the Russians.
So, yeah.
They intentionally attacked the president to make it seem like it was that they were the Russians
so
attacking.
to try and spark war. The reinforcements that came in at the middle point of that battle were British soldiers, and I'm assuming that maybe Elizabeth Colman's character helped provide those guys. Olivia Colman. I'm sorry. Whatever. She played the Queen.
Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah.
On the ground, but yeah, go watch Secret Invasion. Another comment that Iger made that I disagree with. He's like, we've been spending too much money on Marvel and Star Wars stuff. You know, I've seen some people complain, and I get it. It's a lot of stuff to watch, but every Marvel show, and I have not watched What If, which I've heard it's good. Every Marvel show I've watched is good in its own way. Do I think that they could spread their creativity in other places and not just constantly in Marvel and Star Wars? Of course. So I can see how some people do agree with the Iger's comments, but from my perspective, I'm like, no, give me more Marvel shows, because as much as I like the movies, I mean, we do enjoy going to the movies. We talk about with you guys, but it's called We Watch TV podcast, because Daniel and I are the type of people that we have to be in the exact right mood to watch a movie, but we could bang out 7 hours of a TV show, no problem.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think all of the Marvel, I know off the top of my head, Loki would be my favorite.
Yes.
Of the Marvel shows, and that's one thing we agree on. But they've all been good in different ways.
I agree.
Anything else you want to say about Secret Invasion?
No, I'm looking forward to the last 2 episodes coming up. I think that I hope that it's going to close out and be fun. And also, I think it is going to leave us, as it's going to give us some resolution, but I think it's going to leave us on some stuff as well, because
keep us hanging on for the movies.
Yeah, there is an Avengers movie coming up in the next 5 years or so that they've tentatively titled Secret War, which I would assume is going to kind of
oh wow,
yeah, which is going to kind of go. This is Secret Invasion, so I'm
What's the next movie on deck?
Oh my gosh, you asked me too fast.
Is it the Marvels?
Yeah, it's the Marvels.
When does that come out?
I thought that
was fall?
This month. Maybe it's next month. It can't be this month at this point.
I don't think it's this. It's not going to go up against Barbenheimer.
No, absolutely not.
We had a week off. We watched the last 2 episodes of Secret Invasion, and the wheels fell off the van, so to speak, and a lot of egg on our face. In episode 28, A Step Above Crap.
Okay, now back to it.
Back to it. We finished this episode. So we took a break last week to give you Barbenheimer, and so we're kind of playing catch up a little bit this week. And so we want to start out. We're talking the last 2 episodes of Marvel's Secret Invasion.
Yes.
Which was the 5th and the 6th episodes.
Yeah. And that's over, and they don't have any plans, as far as I know, to make a season 2. Correct?
I doubt after the finale that the reception they will.
So I feel like whenever we do ultimately one of our super cuts of this, I'm going to be like, you sound like a clown in the beginning of the episode, because I'm talking about, I was like, don't sleep on
defended this
Secret
show.
Invasion. We both did.
Yeah.
We both did. We defended it. And the second to last episode, I was like, this is the second to last episode. I mean, it was all right. So if I'm saying it was all right, it must have been like, a step above crap according to your rating system. And then the finale happened. We put off the finale because I know it's not going to be, well, maybe not bad, but not great if I'm not being spoiled by a Marvel finale or like a Star Wars finale. And I was like, I've seen no spoilers for this. So that means no one's talking about it. And then it started, because you're in some more like nerdy groups than me.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. And you were like, I heard it's a big fat nothing burger and just boring, but it's only 30 minutes and just like nothing really gets solved. And I'm not going to say it was boring, but it did not feel like a finale, and it kind of soiled like the show for me.
I will sum up the finale in the following words. It was a wet fart.
A wet fart.
Yeah.
All right. That's quite the description. It was just...
It wasn't a bang. It made a noise.
The show
but-
started off so promising. But was it you that told me that you read that like at some point during production they shifted a writing team or something?
Showrunners traded out. They finished principal production, and then they changed showrunners, and they did 4 months of pickups.
I even felt like a whole shift in what the tone of the show was supposed to be about. Obviously, I still think if you're into Marvel shows, give it a try. But don't take your time with it. Don't expect. Like I said, the first couple episodes were good, but then it's just I don't know what happens.
You know what? The promise of these new Marvel shows on Disney Plus was that they were going to matter.
Yeah.
To the overall.
And I'm not sure this one did.
And I don't know what how this matters.
Unless do you think they'll tie it in with the Marvels coming out this fall?
Well, at the beginning of this show, Nick Fury was up in space and he came back to Earth.
Yeah.
And at the end of the show, he goes back to space.
Yeah.
So he's literally in the same place he was when he started the show.
Do you think they'll tie it in
I don't think it's going to. I don't know.
Because we just got a Loki trailer that dropped as the day that we're recording this podcast. Is today July 31st? And they showed the clip in the trailer that was actually in Ant-Man. Like the end credits of Ant-Man. So we know that that's connected, and we all knew that would be. It's just I liked seeing what Fury was up to. I thought the characters are compelling. Gravik, one of our Kens. Now that's all I see him because he was in the Barbie movie.
He got dispatched in just such a nonchalant way.
Or the resolution of that character. And I'm going to say this, and I don't want you to be offended so just brace yourself, Daniel. Because you have told me this and you've agreed with me that other than I guess your buddy Khan, Star Trek sometimes is notoriously kind of limp with their villains and their resolutions.
No,
they really Star Trek that one up. They were just Gravik's gone, it's done.
I will go into extreme detail with you on the failings of Star Trek movie villains. They do better in the TV shows.
It was just okay, Gravik's gone.
Well, you asked me, you were like, is he dead? Because you missed it. The hole in his chest was there and blink and you miss it.
The whole filming of him and Emilia Clarke.
That fight was so stupid.
They did what they could with what they were given, but yikes. I feel like Olivia Colman was the saving grace of that episode, and she only had a few scenes, but every scene she's in, she just steals the show. So that's good parts about that finale. But the end scene, and again, remember guys, this is a spoiler podcast, and we do put the timestamps on. Daniel takes a lot of time to do that. So
yes,
you can always
I do.
Look. He really does. So if you want to skip this part and go ahead, you can do that. So that being said, the final scene was Fury saying goodbye to his wife, who was also a Skrull, and they obviously still love each other. And she was like, "Would you love me with my regular face or whatever, her not human face?" And he's basically "Of course." And then they kissed, and he went back to space. And I'm like, was this whole show I knew it was revealing what he had been up to, but I'm like, was this whole show a love story, a romance? Did I miss something, or did they just kind of because that was the pivotal moment at the end, and I was just what?
It was really a strange tone.
Yeah, it just kind of and then the big thing that I would have focused on that I feel fans of Marvel were into was when we saw the real Rhodey, right?
They did nothing with it at all.
He just kind of woke up and they were like, "Oh, you've been trapped down here and out of it for quite some time." So we still don't know when the Skrull took over Rhodey.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think the director or one of the writers or showrunners have come out and made suggestions about how long, and but it doesn't matter. I don't care what they say.
I don't care their suggestions.
If they didn't put it in the show, then it's not. It doesn't matter.
So it's Secret Invasion. We defended it, and we were like, "Watch this, don't sleep on it." And then these last two episodes, I'm gonna have to agree with you. Wet fart.
Yeah. And you know,
Not great.
I've been thinking about the Marvel shows in general more lately, and I've come to this conclusion that WandaVision, Loki, and to a certain extent Falcon and Winter Soldier are really the only like mandatory
Like they're
watch.
the top tier ones.
The only ones you have to watch. Loki in particular is really the only one you need to watch to understand the movies right now.
But I mean, I still think like She-Hulk was funny.
Sure, I'm not
Completely
saying it was
different
bad.
Vibe. It was
but
like a sitcom vibe.
their origin stories and the movie
I think Ms. Marvel. If you're gonna watch
it
the
was great.
Marvels,
It's an origin story.
yeah, but isn't she gonna show up in the Marvels
Yes, but I guarantee you that they will shoot the movie in such a manner
and like explain
that
it a little
you
bit?
don't necessarily have to have seen the show in order to
I
understand
know,
where
but
she
maybe
came
you'll
from.
understand that character and have more like
Sure,
emotions.
but I mean, think
toward
look
her.
at like I think Marvel has kind of just started to move away from origin story movies. Look at Spider-Man. Spider-Man never got an origin story in the MCU. Granted, everybody knows
Everybody knows
Spider-Man's origin
Spider-Man.
story, but I don't.
Wasn't Spider-Man like the number 3 in the rank? Like they always say, like Batman, Superman, or like the
yeah,
big one.
yeah.
I know
I mean,
that's
everybody
DC,
knew about
but
Spider-Man.
then like Spider-Man's like the number 3 when it comes to like notoriety of like I mean, I'm not like a comic book nerd, but I didn't know who Iron Man was. I vaguely knew who Captain America was, but didn't know anything about Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, so there a lot of this like Marvel stuff I never knew about, but I always knew, you know, who Superman, Batman. I know that's DC, and then of course I knew about Spider-Man.
So, in a recent interview, that hateful, terrible, awful CEO Bob Iger mentioned
Oh man, I'm so disappointed.
that
in him.
that they were going to be taking a step back
Yeah.
on Marvel shows.
Well, they're really expensive to produce.
And
I
the
wonder
fact
how
of
much.
the matter is, while we have both defended the Marvel shows
Yeah.
and we have liked a lot of them, if stuff like Secret Invasion is what they've been doing,
and you're going to end
then
on a
I
wet fart.
kind of understand.
How
but
much
why.
do you think they spent on Secret Invasion?
I don't know. I feel like
Production.
somebody said. Feel like I heard somebody talking about how Secret Invasion almost had the same budget as Oppenheimer.
Wow. It just upsets me because it started off strong. And then it just
did.
really like.
They didn't pay anything off.
And I really like Amelia Clark being in the Marvel Universe. And she's given interviews that said that's the best she's ever been treated.
Yeah.
Like in a show, because I don't think she was treated very well from interviews I've read on Game of Thrones. And that's pretty much, if I would say, most people probably know her from Game of Thrones. But I would still recommend you watch Secret Invasion. But now I'm like, don't rush. Have it as
Yeah,
your
don't
back. Have
rush.
it as your filler when there's
I don't
nothing
think
going on.
I don't think it's required watching if you're going to go see the Marvels later this year. I don't really think
Yeah.
anything that happened in that movie is going to come up and matter whatsoever.
Thanks for listening to this episode of We Watch TV, a podcast about the TV shows we watch. You can find more from Hope and Daniel on Instagram at We Watch TV Podcast. Drop us a line if you like the show, have a question, or a recommendation. You can find Hope on Twitter at Lil Runner and Daniel on Twitter at The Real Hobo Dan. Music for today's podcast was provided by Your Tunes from Pixabay. Artwork was created using the AI program Midjourney with prompts written by Daniel.